Okay.
How you doing, everybody? Welcome to the Matchup Lab here on the Sports Affiliation. Dennis Michelson, along with the professor. It's John Bush. John, we did pretty good with our handicapping in the earlier round, in the wild card round. I looked at my picks, 8-4.
Nice.
Not too bad. We'll take that each and every week. Heading into the big division round. Oh my goodness. 4 games and 4 very tough games await.
Yeah. Here is the Vegas view of these games. If you've never heard us before, we always use Vegas as a frame. I've got some data. I don't know if I've published it or it's out there. I think that higher scoring games tend to have some more yardage than lower scoring games. It kind of makes sense. More defensive activity. So game three, predicted to be over under at 40. And game four, Dennis, will be 48. So the extremes will be on Sunday, whereas the Saturday games will be kind of in the middle. It doesn't mean you and I believe that. This is just how Vegas sees it. And I think that's interesting because the Saturday games, the spread, Denver Buffalo's 1.5, and the other spread is the highest of the week. Seattle and Frisco is 7. So, whereas I think the high and the low on the Sunday games are 3.5. So there's some home field things happening. I don't know about the weather. You'll tell us that. But there's kind of the landscape, Dennis. And folks, I always like the top-down view of things. It sets my framework. And if I was betting this week, I would be looking intently at game four for sure to try to anchor some parlays into that game and be concerned about game three for sure. And if I was just betting some parlays, that's kind of my overall thinking at this moment.
Yeah, and it's very interesting because weather-wise, we have two very docile weather patterns for the
Hmm.
Saturday games and two rather interesting weather patterns for the Sunday games. So
Hmm.
the Saturday games should be free of weather from a standpoint of how it might affect the game of football. And
Right.
Sunday, we might have some weather problems,
Hmm.
some snow possible in New England, not a lot of wind, though, in that game, and
Hmm.
a lot of wind in the Chicago Rams game, and also bitterly cold, especially when one of the teams is used to playing indoors. When you're playing in a wind chill that'll be in the single digits, that could have an effect on performance. So let's look at the first game.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
weather issues in Denver. Should be a beautiful day, maybe a little
Here it is.
breezy, but no real strong wind over, the wind will be under 25-mile-an-hour gusts. So
Right.
not a bad day by Denver standards.
That's great. 24-21. So this is anytime I see a one spread, 1 point, a lot of times I feel like the last team with the ball uh, can kick a field goal and win. If there's no win, then that helps field goal kickers. And Mile High, that has tended to be a real friendly situation for kickers. So Dennis, it may be a field goal settles that game. 46, that's about average. A little bit above. 45 is kind of more historical average. Buffalo faces okay, a little bit tough, but nothing scary. Defense from Denver. Shh, my dog's going nuts. I do say Kincaid or Knox. First parlay I might work in, first leg could be one of those tight ends, Dennis, or maybe even a kicker for Buffalo. So that could be a double parlay right there. Denver faces a tough Buffalo and above average. So Denver's is the running backs are going to be, that's where Denver might have an advantage over Buffalo. But, Josh Adams is going to have to, I just don't know if he can pull what he pulled last week again. Denver is at home and they are 11% more efficient at home, Dennis. Buffalo, 10% less efficient. So Buffalo is not the favorite. They're away and they're 10% less efficient. And notice the rushing is predicted to be 5% above. So there's going to be a lot more rushing for Buffalo. So Cook is going to have to cook for Buffalo to win because the passing away for Buffalo is 11% below. Denver is above league average in both. They seem to be balanced. So my pick on would be Denver. So I picked against Buffalo last week and got spanked. So I may not have learned my lesson. I just don't think Buffalo away historically is. I just don't unless Allen pulls out his Superman suit again. I'm thinking Denver takes care, but it's going to be close, and it could be the last field goal wins the game.
So you got fooled by Buffalo last week, and so did I.
Yep.
And you know, I got fooled, quite frankly, you know, by Denver most of the season. So I'm not really sure on this game. But if I had to, but I think it's going to be close. Okay, that's the one thing I agree with Vegas is I think this game is going to be close. Remembering what the New York Giants were able to do scoring wise against Denver at Denver earlier this year, I'm kind of looking at that and I say this Denver defense can go hot and cold.
Mhm.
So I think it's going to be a close game. And in a close game, I am going to take either the dominant defense or the best quarterback.
Right.
And in this case, it's going to be the best quarterback. I'll take Buffalo and I'll take the over.
Oh
The
boy.
second game on Saturday, San Fran going to Seattle.
Seattle has an insanely tough defense in us. 29-15. Vegas says not even close. San Francisco, go home. Don't know if Kittle's playing. Is he hurt? Is he out? Do we know?
Oh, questionable.
Well,
And
they
and
need him.
also for Seattle, their quarterback hit the
I did see there was an oblique injury issue, so
yeah.
that could muddle the water. But assuming everybody's playing, Seattle should spank San Francisco. I do agree with Vegas. Frisco, they're going to. Kittle is the bright spot. They need him awful bad. Even with one leg, he can hop out there and catch a touchdown. So they need him awful bad. And if he plays, I think they got a shot. Seattle is play them all day long, play everybody. And this looks like hands down Seattle. Seattle's 35% more efficient at home. Lean into the rush a little bit more than the pass. Frisco, get this, Dennis, they love away 22%
Wow.
better away. And they lean into the pass a little bit. They were improving the last part of the season. So this is a strange game that each team
Yes.
is more efficient where they're at, home away. So I feel
Wow.
like the spread, I don't believe that's real. I believe it's closer than people think here, Dennis. But I still think Seattle wins, but I'm not buying the spread. And I think it could be an over. I think there could be points galore here with Seattle having to run it up because Frisco is playing beyond what these DAPs would say, and if their quarterback is hurt, Dennis, I would play the under. So I'm going to be if I play some parlays, I would be definitely playing strong Seattle plays with the quarterback. And if he doesn't play, boy, this could be an upset with Frisco, surprising everybody. But I'm going to pick Seattle, assuming injuries are okay.
Yeah, I'm going to pick Seattle, but reluctantly. Okay. I don't, looking at the recent track record and the way Seattle was able to shut San Francisco down during the regular season at home, I gotta believe that Seattle will find a way to win this one. I think it'll be closer though. And I do also like the under on this one. Well, the game on Sunday will
Mhm.
be the first game will be New England hosting Houston, and Nico Collins out for Houston.
That is crazy. Here, Houston need everybody on deck. Vegas thinks Houston is pretty much the underdog. 3.5. 40 means it's a defensive struggle, and there's a lot of tough, especially for New England against Houston. Houston has been really rough and tough. Dalton Schultz needs to step up, and Travion and Stevenson need to be thunder and lightning and light up the defense and take the pressure off May in passing. If that happens, I think New England will win. But Houston, with their passing, with Schultz, with whoever steps up, Higgins or whoever steps up, they could keep it close. So I'm not buying the spread. I think it's last team gets a shot at winning, and I think it's an over, Dennis. Believe it or not, I just it's these playoff teams have been playing kind of tough on each other, but I think this week it's it's uh, it's going to be close. But I think New England wins. New England is 2% better at home. Houston 24%
Ooh.
uh, less efficient at. My dog's going nuts in the trash. Uh, So that's why I think New England should be able to handle them. But Houston has been improving into the season, and they'll lean into the pass. But I just not thinking Houston has enough manpower to win against New England at home.
Yeah, Houston very sloppy with the ball last week. I mean, there were 4 fumbles and 2 interceptions for CJ Stroud. I think he plays a better game this week, but I just think this is going to be, well, add some snow in the second half.
Mm,
That'll add a little more for Houston, used to playing indoors. So I think New England wins this. I agree. I think it's going to be a close game, but I am going to go against you on the over under. I think this is going to be a game in the 30s for
wow.
total points.
Yeah.
The final game of the weekend, the Los Angeles Rams facing Dumpers.
27-20. I'm not just straight off, Dennis. I'm amazed that the Rams are, it's not a 1 point game and Chicago's not favored. I'm just not buying the Rams seeing outdoors, wind chills. I'm not sure about that over either. I'm a little concerned that's a little aggressive. And I think Chicago can upset this whole situation. There's nothing in the DAPS for either team that scares me. I know Kerwin's going to have a tough time, but the passing game, if as long as it's not a gale force winds, I don't know, the winds. The cold, I think they can do it. And Chicago is 3% better at home, and the Rams are 8% better on the road, actually, but they lean into the rush, and that's where Chicago is tough. So they're going to have to do things a little different. and they're going to be, I think it's going to be one-sided with the Rams pass happy, and I think Chicago is going to keep up with them and probably could beat them. So my pick would be Chicago. I'm not buying the Rams are that superior. They may surprise me.
Well, if I was gonna do the handicapping in this game like the old skits on Saturday Night Live, I would say, the Chicago Bears with the divineness of Ditka and the ghost of Dave Dorson and Walter Payton blowing the foul breeze in the way of the Rams. I will take Chicago in a squeaker 82-6. But reality would say that I will take the Bears in this one. I think the under is the way to go. It will be a
Yeah.
windy day in Chicago. It is going to be nasty cold. Game time temperature about 17 degrees because this is going on in the evening. Wind gusting into at least the mid 20s during the game. So, especially early in the game. The only thing I'm questioning is there going to be significant snow or not? There will be some snow showers and flurries, but they'll be
How
kind of
does that
erratic.
field handle when there's snow? Is it
Yeah,
slippery or?
it handles it pretty well because it is a heated field.
Mm,
But if we get the wind to go from the north to slightly north northeast, just a little change of direction of the wind more down the lake, and we could have some lake snow squalls. I don't think that's happening. I only put that at about a 20-30% chance of happening. I think we will see a little bit of light snow. I don't think that'll be enough to change the outcome of the game. The cold is the big deal because when it gets so cold, everything hurts when you get hit. And it's going to slow the game down a bit. Enough wind to impact the passing game. I like Chicago's running game to be able to control this
yeah.
because the Rams have been able to give up some large chunks of yardage on the ground in recent games, whereas the Chicago defense is actually getting tougher as the season wears on, and they are a big ball hawking team going after turnovers. Now, you got a team, quarterback, wide receivers, running backs that don't give up the ball, but special teams, maybe there'll be a
That could be
turnover
the
on the
difference in the
special teams.
game. Yeah.
Could be the difference of the game along with field position. I like the Bears in a squeaker, and I like the under in this one because I think there will be enough wind and a conservative enough game plan to
Mhm.
slow both teams down. Both teams are going to want to run the
I
ball,
think so.
and I think that's going to slow things down and maybe get us more into the low 40s for points than upper 40s, but I'm not sure I'd put a bet on this one. Just going to enjoy the game and hopefully watch the Bears get the win. So head on over to the scienceoffantasyfootball.com. You can check out some new data. I got a leader of the pack article up showing who is the best player and most valuable player at each position in fantasy football. Check out the professor's data. Of course, like and subscribe to the YouTube channel here at the Sports Affiliation. And come on back next week for another edition of the Matchup Lab.
Get to work, folks.
All right. We got
Yep.
you out here with
And
enough
plenty of
time to
time.
spare.